There is an island shrouded in mist, cradled by the cold Atlantic off the coast of Nova Scotia, a place of whispering trees, shifting tides, and secrets buried deep beneath the soil. For over 2 centuries, men have come here seeking treasure, and found instead only death, ruin, and mystery. They call it Oak Island. What began as a simple curiosity has become one of the longest, strangest, and most expensive treasure hunts in human history. Cursed by legend, guarded by fate, and beneath its surface, perhaps, lies something that could rewrite history itself. The year was 1795. The world was changing, revolutions igniting, empires shifting. But on this small island in Mahone Bay, a teenage boy named Daniel McGinnis wandered beneath the oak trees, unaware he was about to step into legend. McGinnis noticed something strange, a circular depression in the ground, and nearby, the remains of a block and tackle hanging from an old oak branch, a hint of labor, as though someone had once been digging there, long ago. Driven by curiosity, McGinnis returned with 2 friends, John Smith and Anthony Vaughan. Together they began to dig. Barely 2 feet down, their shovels struck a layer of flagstones. 10 feet deeper, a layer of wooden logs. Then again, at 20 and 30. Each level was sealed perfectly with oak timbers, one upon another, as if guarding something of immense value below. But at 90 feet, their crude tools could dig no further, and when they returned weeks later, the pit had filled with water, dark, cold, and unstoppable. It was as if the island itself had swallowed the secret hole. The boys abandoned the pit, but the whisper of hidden treasure, of something buried beneath Oak Island, had already begun to spread. By 1804, the legend had grown. A group called the Unsolved Company took up the challenge, armed with manpower and early machinery. They reopened the site, descending through the layers of oak logs and clay. At 90 feet, they struck a wooden platform covered with coconut fiber, material foreign to Nova Scotia, proof of distant hands. On that platform lay a mysterious stone slab, engraved with indecipherable symbols. When translated years later, the inscription was said to read, 40 feet below, 2 million pounds are buried. Excitement surged, and the digging continued. But then, at 98 feet, the pit flooded again, suddenly, violently. Unknown to them, flood tunnels had been ingeniously built, connecting the pit to the ocean through hidden channels. Every attempt to drain it only made the water rush faster. Whoever built this had engineered it to protect whatever lay below. Over the next decades, new companies tried and failed. The Truro Company in the 1840s, Oak Island Association in the 1860s, and many more. Each reached roughly the same depth, met the same mysterious flooding, and left in ruin. But each also found fragments, clues that deepened the mystery, tools not of this land, charcoal, putty, and fiber from faraway tropics. A tiny scrap of parchment reading the letters VI, treasure, or a trick played by time itself. By the late 19th century, Oak Island had taken lives. Accidents, collapses, drownings. The pit seemed hungry. Locals began to whisper of a curse, that 7 must die before the treasure would be found. So far, 6 had already perished. The legend deepened. Some claimed it was pirate gold, perhaps Captain Kidd's treasure, hidden and protected by deadly traps. Others whispered it was the lost jewels of Marie Antoinette, smuggled from revolutionary France and buried by loyalists fleeing across the Atlantic. Still others believed it was something far older, the lost manuscripts of Francis Bacon, or even the Holy Grail itself. Theories multiplied, so did deaths, but none could deny the engineering genius of the pit. Flood tunnels, layered platforms, and materials foreign to the region, all pointed to a secret far more deliberate than chance. In 1897, a man named Frederick Blair took up the torch. He drilled into the flooded pit, and when the auger reached 153 feet, it brought up something extraordinary. Fragments of gold chain and the same mysterious parchment. But before he could dig further, disaster struck again. Water, collapse, ruin. By the early 1900s, Oak Island had become a legend known around the world. Among those drawn to its mystery was a young engineer named Gilbert Hedden, and later, in the 1930s, Franklin Delano Roosevelt himself, before becoming President of the United States. Roosevelt invested in the search, fascinated by the island's complexity. He believed that behind the mystery lay a real, historical truth, perhaps hidden by the Knights Templar or early Freemasons. He never found it. But Oak Island had already claimed another soul. His curiosity would remain lifelong. By mid-century, the mystery had entered its golden age, not of discovery, but of speculation. Excavations revealed drainage systems carved into the beach, with layers of coconut fiber and eelgrass designed to act as natural filters. Who could have built such an advanced system centuries before modern technology? Some historians pointed to the Spanish explorers, who may have hidden Incan gold stolen from the New World. Others connected the island to the Knights Templar, who supposedly fled Europe after the 14th century purge, carrying with them relics, perhaps even the Ark of the Covenant, the Grail, or ancient biblical texts. Still others believed it was the work of Sir Francis Bacon, hiding secret manuscripts that could prove he authored Shakespeare's plays. Each theory found believers, each brought new explorers, and each ended the same way: failure, debt, and sometimes death. In 1965, the island claimed perhaps its most haunting victims. Robert Restall, a metalworker obsessed with solving the mystery, brought his son and a small crew to the island. They discovered what seemed to be a new shaft connected to the flood tunnels. While checking inside, Robert was overcome by poisonous gas, hydrogen sulfide seeping from the earth. His son rushed to save him, followed by 2 workers. All 4 men died within minutes. The curse had claimed again. 6 lives lost in total. 1 more, it was said, and the treasure would finally reveal itself. The tragedy made headlines across the world, and Oak Island's reputation grew darker than ever. By the 1970s and 80s, modern technology entered the hunt. New investors came and went, each promising breakthroughs. But it wasn't until Marty and Rick Lagina, brothers from Michigan, purchased much of the island in the early 2000s that the legend was reborn for a new generation. Through sonar scans, boreholes, and excavations, they found evidence of ancient tunnels, wooden structures, and artifacts, including items dating back to the 15th and 16th centuries. Among them, a lead cross, possibly linked to Templar symbolism, a Roman-style sword unearthed nearby, fragments of parchment and leather tested to be hundreds of years old. Could this be proof of a pre-Columbian European presence, or simply relics brought by later settlers, twisted by myth? The Lagina's work, chronicled in the Curse of Oak Island series, has reignited the world's fascination. They have used ground-penetrating radar, advanced mapping, and underwater exploration. Yet the core mystery remains. The money pit itself still resists excavation. Its exact location, blurred by centuries of flooding, collapse, and human interference, may now be lost forever. After more than 2 centuries, what can we truly say about Oak Island? Some believe it's a natural sinkhole, its traps formed by geological accident. Others remain convinced it was a man-made vault, deliberately designed to protect something of immense value, be it gold, manuscripts, or relics of faith. There's even evidence that Spanish, British, and French activity occurred near Mahone Bay in the 16th century, suggesting that foreign engineers could indeed have built something there. But the true secret may not lie in what is buried, but in why it was buried. Oak Island's enduring allure is not simply the possibility of treasure, but the reflection of human obsession. For over 200 years, men have poured their lives, fortunes, and blood into a hole in the ground, searching for meaning as much as for gold. Generations have come and gone. Blair, Restall, Nolan, Lagina, names etched into the island's history, each convinced that they were on the edge of revelation, each left with only fragments, debts, and dreams. And yet the pull remains. Oak Island stands as a mirror, showing us the cost of obsession, the hunger for truth, and the haunting possibility that some secrets are meant to stay buried. Scientists today still debate the flood tunnels, the artifacts, the strange symbols. None have proven fraud, but none can confirm treasure. It sits in that thin, electric space between fact and legend where human imagination thrives. Over 225 years since Daniel McGinnis first struck the ground beneath that old oak tree, the pit still guards its mystery. If there is treasure, it has claimed far more in pursuit than it could ever repay. If there is none, then Oak Island has nevertheless achieved immortality. A story too perfect, too haunting, too human to ever die. As night falls over Mahone Bay, the wind whispers through the trees that once held the block and tackle. Beneath them, the ground still shifts, wood, stone, and salt water intertwined in a labyrinth of man and myth. Perhaps someday the earth will give up its secret, or perhaps Oak Island will keep it forever. Either way, the legend will endure. Because in the end, the greatest treasure Oak Island ever held is the mystery itself.